Every year, as Craig knows, because he was a member of the Honors Curriculum and Development Committee, which is a committee that includes faculty representatives from across campus and also several honors students. Every year, we have the privilege of selecting the very best of our honors senior projects, which is the culminating academic and intellectual experience of the honors curriculum. The names of the winners go on plaques and they hang permanently in the hallway outside of our office. This year, perhaps because of COVID, I don't know, we had an unusually amazing collection of senior projects, so many, in fact, that we decided to share all of these students' names with you today as honorable mentions. They all did fantastic work, and we're very proud of them. Our committee had a very difficult time finally settling on winners in our 5 categories. And in fact, in 2 categories, we ended up with a tie. But it's clear to us that the 7 award-winning students have distinguished themselves, even among a very distinguished group of students and projects. The first category that we're going to award is the Outstanding Senior Thesis category, and this is one of those that ended up with a tie. And it's interesting and ironic that I learned that both of the students that won this award this year came from the same first-year interdisciplinary sequence back in the fall of 2017, the Worlds of Greece and Rome. And one of the teachers is actually going to be presenting the second of our awards in this category. But first, I'm going to ask 2 physics professors, Brett Bolin and Ben Holder, to present the award to Ben Brown.
Hi, I'm Brett Bolin. It's my pleasure to congratulate Ben Brown on a wonderful job. I've taught Ben in, I believe, 4 classes. I was trying to count on my fingers. He has done excellent in every one of them. He has also done a lion's share of tutoring for the tutoring center. And from what I hear, the tutoring center is currently scrambling to try and replace the job she's on. What if I can say a minute of what Ben did? Ben looked at one of the oldest ideas of relativity, that is that gravity can bend light. And this was actually the first proof of Einstein's theory. Now, what Ben did was Ben examined what would happen if you have an object rotating around a black hole. It's emitting light. So imagine a star orbiting a black hole. And he has made a movie of how that is. And even more impressively, he did this for not only the static black hole, but for a very complicated black hole called the Keir black hole, which is extremely difficult. We are currently in going to work this summer to get this into a form that is suitable for publication in the undergrad journal of physics. And Ben is currently planning to go to graduate school, perhaps skipping this COVID year, but next year. And I expect nothing but the best for him.
Congratulations, Ben. And our second outstanding senior thesis is Megan O'Neill, who's a classics major. You can see her project title here. And I'm going to ask Professor Charles Pasternak from the classics department to present the award to her.
Well, good afternoon, everybody. Let me take a moment. We'll get to Megan presently here, but as Dr. Gillis mentioned, I had the privilege of having both Ben Brown and Megan as my students. Hello, Ben. It's nice to see you. In their first year at Grand Valley, 2017, 2018, in their first year sequence. Worlds of Greece and Rome, WOGAR, as it's known to those who know and love it. And so, Ben, let me take the opportunity to congratulate you as well. It's a very impressive sounding project. And as I scan the list of attendees, I also see, of course, the names of many other WOGAR alums from that year. And even though I can't see you, please let me take the opportunity to congratulate you as well. I've come across a number of you at different times over the years, and I can't tell you what a pleasure it is to continue to have the opportunity to interact and to see what everyone accomplishes as time goes on. I've been at Grand Valley for 20 years, and although I haven't taught WOGAR in each and every one of those years, I've done it more often than not, and it's always a great privilege to do so. Now then, Megan. Megan is a classics major and is someone who has, from the very start, followed her own path when it comes to embarking on original research. She has been very forthright, not only in excelling in her regular coursework, both in classics and outside of classics, but she has done independent studies of various kinds with me and with other colleagues. I think from the very beginning, oftentimes without credit. Oftentimes without formality, and done it during the summer, and has really been, embodied so much of the spirit of liberal education that Dr. Benjamin was talking about in his talk. She is someone who has also done independent research and self-directed research from the very moment that she arrived here. I think that she delivered a paper at one of the intercollegiate honors colleges conferences during her first year at Aquinas College. And her interests and focus have shifted over the years. Originally, she was very interested, and I'm sure she remains very interested in constructions of sexuality in the ancient world. And so she did a number of works, including peer review presentations in a number of those fields. And more recently, she's become interested in the institutional and economic history of the later Roman Empire, which is, quite a world in its own right. Something that I pretend to know a little bit about. And so it's been really a pleasure for me and a privilege for me and a treat for me to be able to work with Megan on her project. You've seen the title of that project. What Megan has done has been, in a really boldly and ambitiously synthetic work of scholarship, to investigate institutional responses, governmental and non-governmental responses to a global pandemic in the background of accelerating climate change and geopolitical instability and great power rivalry. And if that sounds all too much like the moment in which we find ourselves, how much more remarkable is it that, of course, this is something that happened about 1,500 years ago. Okay, so this is the what's often known as the Great Justinianic Plague, an instance of bubonic plague beginning in the 540s AD and extending for some considerable time beyond that. Chiefly in the city of Constantinople, but also extending across the greater part of the Mediterranean and beyond into Europe and into Asia. So Megan is looking at that material in the context of really the development of what becomes in the Eastern Mediterranean, in the Byzantine Empire, the development of charitable organizations, what we might call a public health infrastructure in the Byzantine Empire, centered upon ecclesiastical administration, very much a product of the social and cultural history of Christian philanthropy. And of course, in order to do that work, she's working with original primary sources, mainly in Greek. So she's bringing the formidable linguistic skills that she's developed over the years to this project as well. Needless to say, it is it is a sprawling work. I think in its final instantiation, it turned out to be a good 80 or 90 pages or so. And again, it is quite an accomplishment. So congratulations, Megan. And again, thank you so much for taking me along for the ride. And of course, you have many great things ahead of you as you're thinking about your options, and also I think thinking about taking a gap year before you pursue postgraduate study.
Thank you so much, Professor Pazernik, and congratulations, Megan. Those are two really great projects, so different and yet coming from that same first year experience. Really great to see. Our next award is for the Outstanding Senior Project, which is going to be presented by Dr. Babasola Fateye from the Biomedical Sciences Department, to Riley Olson, who is a BMS major herself.
Thank you so much, Roger. Hello, everyone. It's my really distinct honor to introduce Riley and personally to congratulate her in front of her peers for really remarkable work that she did with me. I have to say we were colleagues at this because the project that she initiated with me, I've always been in the lab doing physical sciences, life sciences, never did anything like this. But the title of her project right now that she just completed is the role of social media in the Black Lives Matter movement during COVID-19. And I want to just step back a second to talk about what led to that project and what led to me working with Riley. She was a student in my class. So this is, by the way, this is my first honors thesis that I'm doing at JV, Grand Valley State University. But I put out a call and a couple of students volunteered. She was one of them. And this was as COVID hit last year. And she and three of her colleagues essentially worked with me all summer. We met so many times, virtually analyzing the data from that project. It involved looking at photos that her peers had submitted in response to a survey. And the reason I say she's my colleague, because I had never done that before. So it was an opportunity for me to really learn. And I'm really glad I listened. I'm really glad, it was eye-opening for me to not just get into a new field, but to see students who are motivated and as well as capable to take on that kind of work. And if you think about working with 4 students, 2 of them in one class, another 2 in a different class, and it was really a pleasure to see Riley take leadership on aspects of the project, not just hers, but even helping her peers. So for me, it was, it's the quintessential, professor's dream to have that. So I'm really, really honored, and I really mean that. The initial project that she did, got published in a very respectable journal. Again, absolutely remarkable achievement of its own. But based on looking at those images, those photos of the time, I believe Riley's interest in looking at such data and given the need at the time increased. And she came up with this project looking at social media. And the funny thing is, when she initiated the project, I'm very, very limited in social media capabilities. And Riley told me, well, I'm going to do this. Like, I'll handle the social media part of things. I'm like, oh, well, by all means, go do it. And that led to this new project that she did. And in terms of originality, when we submitted the original paper for publication, even the editor said that this is a whole different new approach to giving us information about the impact of COVID-19 on one population, the population being students. But then when she conceived her own project, which is a spin-off that she did for her honors thesis, that project is, again, another layer of originality, as well as giving us an insight into the impact of COVID-19 on issues of racial inequities and social justice, which is now taking the skills she acquired the year before and adapting that to even the broader society. So I could go on and on talking about the project, but one of the things I see as remarkable in working with her, and my pleasure in working with her, is while she was doing all of this, she was as well a healthcare worker during COVID-19, during the break. And being a senior, I can imagine how much stress that was, but that she still did quality work. And might I add that even right now, part of that project currently involves an international collaboration with students in 3 continents, actually 4 continents, Africa, Asia, Europe, and in the US. So I'll just stop here to say, Riley, you have a world of a future ahead of you. Your interdisciplinary and liberal education that you're bringing with you, coming from the BMS, doing qualitative research, working in healthcare, I believe sets you up for a really successful career where you will certainly thrive and flourish. And I sincerely wish you all the best going into the future. I would end with an excerpt from her current thesis, and this is in the conclusion. And she's speaking about the role of of social media on the Black Lives Matter movement. For that, she looked at several Instagram and social media posts between 2020 till last week. And this is what she says, that as community organizations, their platforms were to better their communities by assisting the homeless, promoting donations, as well as intersectionality that highlighted in those Instagram posts that were dedicated to other issues of LGBTQ rights, feminism, and stop Asian hate. I don't think there's any better message to preach at this point in time in our collective existence as how you summed up your project. I sincerely wish you all the best, Riley.
Thank you, Professor Fataye, and congratulations, Riley. Our next category is the Outstanding Creative Achievement among the Honor Senior Projects for this academic year. And the award is going to Riley Wells, who's a music major. And presenting the award is Dr. Rachel Gates Bergen from the Department of Music, Theater, and Dance.
Thank you. Hi, I'm Dr. Rachel Gates, and I teach singing at Grand Valley State University. And my student, Riley Wells, is one of the more intelligent scholars and talented artists with whom I've had the pleasure of working, student or no. They possess a uniquely capable and impressive instrument that you will get to hear right after I'm done talking. And they are ready to embark on a professional operatic career at an unusually young age. I gave Riley the opportunity to give a lecture recital, a doctoral level performance format, and focus only on operatic arias that they would be hired immediately to perform. This is also graduate level work. Riley went a step further and called the recital the Voices of Orpheus, opportunity to define themselves as a non-binary opera singer. In their own words, Riley says, I put this recital together to bring some light to the representation of gender in opera throughout history, from men playing women to women playing men and everything in between. Gender in opera has a long and complex history. It has never been a black and white binary. Riley's lecture recital exceeded my expectations. I recommend that any of you who are interested in learning more about gender roles in opera listen. And I have provided, or I will provide in just a moment, the link in the chat below. pre-recorded the aria performances individually so that Riley could use them for future competitions and auditions. And they have already begun to use them. They have been invited twice this semester to compete nationally. We rate the results. So I just want to say, Riley, I have so appreciated learning from you this we've had together, especially this last semester. And I am so excited to see what you're going to do next. So with that, if you would share the link.
Well, thank you, Professor Gates, and congratulations, Riley. And now let's listen. Just a small taste of a wonderful portion of that performance. So our next category is Excellence in Collaborative Research. And the winner is Annalise Trout, who is an information technology major with an information systems minor. And her project advisor is Dr. Zheng Cao from the School of Computing and Information Systems.
Hello, everyone. I'm an assistant professor from the School of Computing. It's my very honor to present the Award of Excellence in Collaborative Research to Annalise Trout. So Annalise studies information technology. The topic she worked with me is about the data storage in edge computing. So in recent years, we know that we have the concept of cloud computing. And in this computing area, we always, this field is fast changing. And now we have new idea we call edge computing. It is a very novel and important computing architecture. So we address the storage issue, and this issue has not been well addressed by other researchers. So that's the topic. So it's my very pleasure to work with Annalise. The Annalise worked very hard and worked very diligently in the last semester for 2020. And so based on the result of her project, we successfully just published a peer-reviewed research article in a IEEE the conference, and the Annalise is the first author, which means she's the major contributor to this article. And so this article was selected as the best paper in the category of cloud computing and data center systems. So I'm very glad we just not only we finished this project, but also we just published that. And so everyone around the world, they can see our result. So so congratulations, Annalise, and best wishes for your future career in computing.
Thank you, Professor Cao, and congratulations, Annalise. Final category of Honor Senior Project Awards is the Outstanding Civic Engagement Project. And so this was also a category where we had a tie in the top category, or really two winners. And the first of the winners is Alex Hicks, who is a marketing major with a digital studies minor. And the presenter will be Dr. Laura Schneider from the Political Science Department.
So I have not had the opportunity to have Alex as a student, as I'm in political science, and Alex hasn't taken any political science classes of mine, but Alex approached me about a year ago about this project because I do teach in issues related to gender within the political science department, and I was super excited about the opportunity to work with Alex. So last summer, They examined a question of period poverty at Grand Valley State University. There were a number of reasons why Alex selected this topic, but among them was the lack of research on period poverty at the collegiate level. We see a lot with younger and older populations, but not as much with college students. A desire to make Grand Valley more inclusive for all students, as period poverty is a particular challenge for low-income students, and a desire to make a lasting impact on the GVSU community. So Alex went through the IRB process, designed the survey, and then conducted it over Facebook last summer to learn about menstrual product accessibility issues for Grand Valley students. They learned that period poverty does exist at Grand Valley and that students would greatly benefit from having access to free products. As part of Alex's work on this project, as well as a university task force that they also served on, Grand Valley is now offering in several restrooms free menstrual products, which is an amazing achievement that she was able to bring this to the attention of the university and have their research acted upon. And this is really also important and was something that came up in Alex's paper, that as Grand Valley is moving towards a cashless system and restroom dispensers only take change, that it'll become increasingly more difficult for students to have access to menstrual products when they need it. And Alex's research, they found that about 80% of students on campus said that they begin a period unprepared and don't have any products with them. So having access to free menstrual products on campus is really, really important. And Alex's research is very relevant to the future of Grand Valley and to the inclusiveness for all students. So I just want to wish Alex congratulations. It's very well deserved. And I'm really looking forward to continuing working with you as we move forward on the project.
Thank you, Professor Schneider. And thank you, Alex, and congratulations. Our final awardee in the category of Outstanding Civic Engagement Project is Erin Trudeau, who's a computer science major. And this award will be presented by Professor Ira Woodring from the School of Computing and Information Systems.
Hello. Aaron, I came to Grand Valley, as you know, in 2017, and I have been very lucky to have been able to have him in my classes for multiple different classes. One of the first things that you will know about Aaron after you meet him is that he is a friend to everyone. And not only is he a friend to everyone, but he's a helper to everyone. It was not uncommon for me to see him in the hallways, talking to other students and helping them with their work. And he really extended that love and that passion for other people and that inclusiveness for all people to his senior project. His project, I'm going to say the term video games, and I hope many of you don't turn off, as I often find people do when we start talking about video games. But video gaming is a $150 billion industry, and experts expect it to be a $300 billion industry by 2025. And the main reason that we think that it has become so important is it creates a community that all people can take part of. It's nearly impossible for every person to be a football player or for every person to be an astronaut, but it's very simple for pretty much anyone to find a home with a video game community that they love. The only exception to that traditionally has been people with physical disabilities, and that is the area that Aaron decided to target. So in video game development, it's a very complex process, and one of the things that often gets left to the side is making it easily modifiable from a human-computer interaction standpoint for those people who have non-standard needs for input mechanisms and output mechanisms. And coming from a special education background, before I came into computer science, we have often found with assistive technologies that people who research these technologies forget to take into account the actual viewpoints and needs of the people who need these technologies. And right off the bat, I was so impressed by Aaron, because when he began research, he said, "Mr. Woodring, I I think I need to go speak to Disability Support Services. And he interviewed people there and he found out what their needs were and he really listened to their viewpoints. And then he went further and he found a fairly prominent YouTuber who speaks on these same issues and reached out to this person and was able to get in contact with them and interviewed them several times and got quite a bit of feedback about what the industry needs to do to change and how we can actually make it for a standard part of the video game creation process so that more people can take part in these communities. And I've just been impressed every step of the way with what Aaron has done. His work, I have no doubt, is going to benefit a great number of people. And Aaron, I hope that you continue to be as inclusive and as passionate about people in your coming career as you were during this project. So thank you for letting me be your advisor. Very proud.
Thank you, Professor Woodring, and congratulations to you, Aaron.